We should be live, everybody. Welcome to the stream. The RP Ginger here, and we are running part 2 of Death Frost Doom. This part is titled The Descent, and I am going to start this session getting right into it with a recap of sorts, or more just a different perspective. Because right now, as we get into the game, it is dark. It is cold. The wind howls in agony. And as we see snow whipping and torrenting in down the mountainside of Death Frost Mountain, we see a tent of fur pelts stretched along branches that make a makeshift tent. And we see at this tent in the middle of night that smoke is faintly billowing from the top. Inside the tent, a light illuminates, and we see a man, a elf man named Ezekiel Duncaster, and he is busily, frantically carving with blood and a pick into wooden boards. It has been a long time since Zeke has had visitors, centuries even, but last night, for the first time since he can remember, he had people come and visit him. Maybe it was last night, maybe it was longer. For someone like Ezekiel, time seems to be something that's hard to grasp. But his ancestors have passed down many generations of tales of the terrible violence and death that has occurred at the peak of Death Frost Mountain. They never specifically told Zeke what happened up there, for some things are better long and forgotten. And now, as Zeke angrily carves into these wooden boards, he hopes that it's been long enough. But he doubts that. He thinks of what someone must have went through to get up to the top of this mountain, and he thinks of how foolish the lot of you must have been to take all the signs and not heed them anyways, continuing on, taking his warning and passing on up to the very peak of the mountain where you found the many gravestones that waited you in a strange cabin. Zeke has spent his entire life, the many centuries of it, making these gravestones that he currently is carving right now, as a way to honor the memory of the innocents that were slaughtered up there. But tonight is different. The ones that he carves tonight are not to honor the memory. They are there to remind the world of who to blame. And he violently stabs with the last final stroke into the wooden stone, and as the camera kind of pans over his shoulder, we see that there is 5 wooden boards with each of the party's name carved into them. Robert, Danny, Radislav, Drax, and Marvin. Zeke decides that he'll make up his final trek towards the mountain top to place these stones. He thinks it's going to be his last, but he's okay with that. And this is where we pan over to you guys. Just recently finishing off the horrible abomination of the bear with its flesh-flayed faces of humans somehow sewn to its body, screaming in torment. This creature has now been just ripped in half by Radislav and his bear form, and you lay exhausted on the floor now, having fought for your lives. Some recovering from drug benders, others recovering from near-death encounters with wolves, and the other almost being ripped in half by this very abomination. But as the creature lay defeated, you realize now that this horrible nail on chalkboard yet rhythmic sound that you've been hearing ever since you got up to the peaks now has grown louder, and in the center of the main living area, you now see that underneath the carpet that once was laying there is now a trapdoor that lay shattered from the weight of this creature. What is everybody doing? I believe that out of game, Danny decided to take a little rip of the Purple Lotus powder, and the roll that she got is 4 questions with outer powerly forces. So Danny, why don't you kick off the questions and we'll see if I can answer them on the fly.
Perfect. Thanks for remembering. My first question is, what do the books say in this house we're in.
Very nice. The books, you don't necessarily get like a, hey, this is the outer world, these powers talking here, this is the answer. It's more a vision, and that vision is of countless centuries.
You might be muted.
Oh, yes, I am muted, and I've been talking. So, you don't get necessarily like an answer in the format of a voice saying like, yo, this is the elderly powers, this is the answer to your question. It comes in more of a vision, and that vision is of centuries of horrible, violent, brutal torture. And then you're kind of all in a moment watching this endless amount of violence, and then you get the sense that that book is a catalog of all the names of the people that were killed here. You get 3 more questions.
And so can I save them for any point during the game?
No, as soon as your high is over, you are no longer contacting them.
Interesting.
There's this trapdoor here. You could ask about what's underneath the house.
Oh, okay. Or we could just go.
Or we could just go find out.
You had to get again. So maybe who were the faces as part of this monster? Like, wait, there were 3 faces like in the belly of it?
Yeah, so they don't give you names per se, but what you witness is that there is some kind of ritual that has taken part. And this ritual is using that violence and torture to somehow harness some kind of liquid from the entities that have suffered this fate. And then that liquid is imbued onto other things, which give it some kind of supernatural power. This power, this liquid, is called liquid time. Two more questions remain as you now like lie kind of like high as fuck, seizing out on the floor, but you're getting like these visions from the powers that be. What else do you think about as you're on this trip?
Okay, so I kind of want to know, like, who's behind it all? Like, where is the source of all of this coming from? And everything about them and their weaknesses.
Well, let me give you a detailed list.
There. I would like to know the stats block of biobombs.
Absolutely. Give me a second here.
It's weak to Purple Lotus power.
And she sobers up quickly. Unlikely for the plant, but for some reason, she is now normal.
Yeah, give me a second here. I'm trying to find the link that I just lost awkwardly. Here it is, I think.
Hold on, I'm looking up the stat block for a Tarsk.
Yeah, so you get the name of a people called the Duvanku. And then that tells you that they are a cult. An ancient cult, a horrible cult, probably the most evil cult as you're getting these visions of what they do and what they were willing to do to get power. Probably one of the most evil cults to ever walk the earth. And their mission was to create a god. And they did this by torturing and harnessing this liquid time from the tortured souls and tried to imbue this onto an entity to turn it into a god. They did not succeed. Or so the powers that be tell you, is that they were wiped out before they ever completed the ritual. But they were led by a man called Praetor Cyrus, Carnithrax Maximus, the unvanquished king of 1,000 wars.
Wow.
Can I call him Praetor?
You can call him that, absolutely.
I'm gonna call him bitch.
One question remains, I believe.
I wanted to show me a vision of the most powerful object in the 10-mile radius.
Oh, interesting.
That's cool.
That's gonna be fun to figure out. Oh, that's kind of easiest.
Black Razor's 9 miles that way.
They do. Sorry, word that again. I forgot what was the wording you said on that. Most powerful what?
The most powerful magical object in the 10-mile radius.
Okay. That is fun.
That is incredibly specific.
Yeah.
That was really good.
That's a good one. They probably struggle to answer that, but basically what you do get a vision of is that below in this hole is a shrine, and in the shrine are many, many catacombs of buried people, and they are, some of them, the more important figures, were buried with their powerful belongings, and you just see basically a catacomb of magical items that would tickle a rogue's fancy quite well. I don't
see like the name of the catacomb.
No, but you would definitely know that they are below, that they are guarded by your vision kind of, I guess, tunnels down, and first you plunge down into the deep hole. You're whipped like at the speed of light through a hallway, through a couple more doors, into this kind of chapel area, beyond a bronze door into a forked path, and then in the forked path is a long hallway that has doors that lead to catacombs, and basically in these catacombs are different kind of magical items. You see longbows, great swords, armors and daggers and potions and scrolls and gold beyond your wildest imaginings.
Cool.
And now you come out of the trip. Give me a wisdom saving throw.
You wake up to a big wet nose sort of pushing up against your face, and a big old bear lick like, "Hey, wake up! Snap out of it!"
What did you roll?
I have to see what my... It says it...
Wisdom save. Oh, that doesn't look great.
11.
11. Wonderful.
Wise.
Let me see here. Roll me a D100. D100s are fun.
75.
75. Oh boy.
God.
You are overcome with a short-term madness. You only know this, although the players refrain from, I guess, metagaming, but you do whatever anyone tells you.
Oh.
And that lasts for... How long does that last for? Tell me. Oh, here we go. Roll a D10. Or I can roll it if you don't have it, but you have it by the looks of it.
That's an 8.
8. You suffer that for 80 minutes. So an hour and a bit. So what is everybody else doing now as Danny comes out of her psychedelic trance?
Draxus is standing kind of close, but over her body going, "Who the fuck did I go on this mission with?
Bunch of druggies.
Everybody's fucking Jesus. Thank God they're just meat shields to Draxus."
Radislav is trying to wake you up, but he's still a bear.
Robert is standing over her and, "Hey man, it was good, right?"
Cha.
That's only 7 hits left of Purple Lotus. Someone be tracking that shit.
I got my tracking. I'm keeping good track of it, man. I got it. Don't worry about it.
70 hits, right?
Yeah, 77, 777.
All the hits.
7.
So
I got enough to last me the rest of my life.
badly injured from this fight, some of you, I imagine. tired and exhausted from the long hike, but this otherworldly sound and the dark abyss of this trap door now beckon to you guys.
Hey, Danny, you should go check out that hole.
Oh, okay. And then I jump in.
I'm right behind her.
You jump in?
I'm just gonna dive in.
All right, give me a dexterity saving throw.
Ooh, nat 20.
Not 20. You take half of 17 damage as you plummet 50 feet into the darkness abyss and hit, slamming down to the bottom of the floor. So what is that?
I got a 25.
Yeah, you take half the damage, luckily. So half of 17 is, 8?
8.
Yeah.
Are you rounding up or down?
Rounding down. That's the raw, right? Yeah.
There's no raw in this game.
Oh my god, what happened to her?
Don't jump in.
I assume there's a ladder, so I'm just gonna climb down that.
You look down. It's pitch black, but you have some night vision, so you do see that there's not a ladder per se, but there is like little carved holes naturally
I'm
into.
perfect with carved holes.
There you go.
I'll use my acrobatics to climb down.
You acrobatics your way down. Doesn't really need to do so, but the problem is that it's a pretty tight hole, and dark vision. It doesn't matter for you, but because you can see, but everybody else, it's kind of like pitch black, and the holes are not necessarily just like this perfectly carved out thing. So it's going to be harder for people without dark vision to climb down in the darkness.
I will have the sacred weapon of my divine whatever happening so that it's glowing, I can see what's going on.
Nice. The divine whatevering on your sacred weapon that you are definitely in tune with glows as you climb your way down. Radislav, how do you make your way down? Do you just climb and hope for the best in the darkness, or do you have means to produce a light?
He roars.
Can I even fit as a bear?
Negatory.
All right. Well, I turn back into a human.
All right. You could like Winnie the Pooh yourself and get just absolutely stuck in the hole, but then you don't know.
I do that first. Then I turn back into a human. And
I got you, buddy.
Can I see the light from Draxus's weapon if I follow closely after him?
Yeah, sure. I'll allow it.
Otherwise, I got some torches, but the problem with that is I need a hand to hold the torch.
Yeah, it'd be awkward. So yeah, I'll give you. I'll let you go down. Just give me a quick acrobatics check. Pretty low DC. Just avoid the natural one, basically.
Yeah, don't give me any more inspiration.
18.
As you're making your way down, you see that Marvin is standing at the top, and she has basically fear in her eyes, and she tells you that she's made a grave mistake, and that she had a dream or a trance, because elves don't dream and they're cool like that, but something calling to her down there, taunting her with power. The power to defeat her enemies, and she now in this moment realizes that she is being tempted and that you guys should not go down there, and that she will find the power on her own and bids you farewell. Unfortunately, Charles cannot make it today, so we are going to have to go without him, and Marvin says that she is not being tempted by this power. She will find the power to defeat her own enemies, and leaves.
I'm glad that you've finally found some wisdom, young lady. That's quite good. I'm happy for you. Just be careful out there, okay? There's still some wolves.
I'd like to roll to persuade Mavroon to stick around with us for a little while longer. I'm just kidding.
She says, fuck you. You guys are a bunch of druggies. I don't hang out with you.
Come on, Draxus. You want to hit, bro?
I do not do that stuff.
All right, you all make your way down. Cold floor beneath your feet, in complete and utter blackness, besides the glowing light from Draxus's What is it? A mace, Draxus?
It is a morning star,
A
sir.
morning
Thank you
star.
very much.
All right. You hold up your morning star, and towards the north is a long, dark hallway. Let's assemble the marching order.
Sacred weapon will last for as long as I want it to until I recall it or until my weapon's more than 5 seconds away from me or something. So I'll take lead with the bright, flashy morning star.
Sacred weapon is a spell you're casting, right?
Sacred weapon is a channel divinity.
Oh, what does it do?
As an action, I can imbue one weapon that I'm holding with a positive energy using that channel divinity for 1 minute. I can add my charisma modifier to attack rolls made with that weapon, with a minimum bonus of +1. The weapon also emits bright light in a 20-foot radius and dim light 20 feet beyond that. If the weapon is not already magical, it becomes magical for the duration.
Dope. So you have a minute of lighting, and you begin to walk forward down.
I thought the minute was just for the charisma modifier to my attack roll.
No, it's just the cast time.
Oh,
cast
time. Okay, so it lasts forever then?
Well, it lasts until I would imagine
I will
Put it out.
I will let that go for now. Sure, I'll check it later, but that sounds good to me.
Oh, I'm sorry. The end of the effect on my turn is a part of another action.
Okay.
If I'm no longer holding or carrying the weapon, or if I fall unconscious.
Cool.
It ends.
Nice. So yeah, you have perma light. That's good. You are walking forward then. Who is following in behind?
Back.
I'll go after Draxus.
Draxus, then Radislav. Danny, are you okay with being third?
Yeah.
You wonder where Marvin is, and you're told that she has taken leave. That leaves Robert Hod at the back. Only a few minutes have passed since you've sobered up, and you begin to walk down this hallway. You begin to hear the faint murmured whispers, Draxus, and as you look around, this otherworldly sound now growing louder from the north, your light begins to imbue the wall with this holy, radiant light that almost seems to be fighting back the darkness. Normally, this light would illuminate much further, but it's as if the darkness is just fighting back and pushing on the holy light and resisting it. But as you carry on, each step kind of making the loud kind of echoing sound with the silence, or not the silence, but like just not a whole lot of noises besides the scraping noise. You begin to hear these whispers, and you look around and you see, coated with this thin layer of what looks like glass, the walls are completely carved with small, twisted and tormented faces. Every inch of the wall and ceiling, just thousands of faces.
I'm going to be dragging my fingers along this reflective wall, constantly saying a prayer for these lost souls so that they might be able to find some form.
As soon as you touch the wall, the entire chamber blasts with a cacophony of screams that deafen you.
That'll just enforce my prayer more. Then I'll force my palm onto the wall and hold my sacred spiritual emblem, and really pray hard that these souls find light at the end of their horrible life.
You stay true to your prayers, trying not to be overcome by the horrific screams and picturing what these people must have endured to be stuck in this phase, and you can carry on 10, 20, up to a total of 60 feet. Before you come upon a massive stone door that is shaped like a gargoyle's face, and you see that in the center of this gargoyle's maw is a lock with a key in it.
Feeling that Draxus's skills would be undermined with this whole thing in front of him, he'll look to Danny and say, Danny, do your skills allow you to possibly see if this is a trap or not?
Danny, you see that Draxus is talking to you, but you can't hear what he's saying because there's just thousands of horrific screams billowing out from this. But nonetheless, you're kind of stopped, and you move your way forward, and you too make out the large gargoyle-faced stone door.
Yeah, so I talk a little louder as I'm talking over these voices in my head. Then I start to use my lock pit set to open it. That's the key.
Do you want to just make an investigation check, or is that what you did? You kind of cut out on that
Oh.
for me.
No, I can investigate. That's a great idea.
Yeah, that seems like a great idea. Because even with your natural investigation, you realize that yes, this door is locked, but you being a rogue, the first thing that you check is, hey, there's a key in it, and you turn the key, and the key does indeed unlock the door.
Oh.
Even passively, I'm
There
going
you
to
go.
say that you don't even really need to actually, like, you just look at this and realize it.
Draxus will stand at defense as soon as she clicks the key.
The key clicks and the door gives way. You open up the door and it pushes into a small rectangular room. The north and western walls of this room have little nightstand-like desks lined along them. As you stick your radiant morning star in, because everything is pitch black until otherwise noticed or otherwise informed, you see that each of these nightstands are lined with a skeletal hand resting on them, about 13 in total. And you see to your east a set of double iron doors engraved with a large sigil. Other than that, there's not a whole lot going on in this 30-foot by 20-foot room.
Are the nightstands in a certain pattern, or
No, they're just
are they-
lined against the northern wall, and then they go down the western wall. You're coming from the south.
Radislav would maybe enter the room and grab one of the sturdier looking nightstands
Mm-hmm.
and try to drag it.
The
Over
skeletal
to the-
hand resting on top of it would fall off and crumble.
Ugh.
I will try to collect the other hands without allowing them to crumble.
You collect the hand, and you see that there is a rune etched on it. But unfortunately, without magical means, you too know, because you've made a check before, right? I can't remember what check Draxus made, but you realize that there is an ancient forgotten language of the Duvanku also. You don't know how to read this language, but you recognize the runes are similar.
Sorry,
And
but
there's a
After
rune
the
on
hand
the
crumbled,
door.
I would take the nightstand and put it in the door.
You put it at the door. As you go towards the
Sorry.
door with this large sigil etched on it, Radislav, you begin to feel incredibly uneasy, as if this door is foreboding, and that you momentarily feel like you should maybe turn around, and you get this nauseous feeling. Knowing that you have a mission ahead of yourself, though, you brave through it, dragging the nightstand table towards the door, resting it there. Nothing happens.
I was actually going for the open door when we came through,
Oh, yep, that's fine too. That makes way more sense.
and I place the nightstand in the way of the door
Yep.
so that it can't close.
That's fine. You don't know how well a nightstand will stand up to a giant stone door, but nonetheless, it is there to hopefully stop it.
Coats.
No worries, boys. We won't get locked in here.
That was nightstand.
Can I study the sigil on the door and then try and see if there's a hand with a matching sigil?
You can definitely give me a religion check, but you too get this uneasy, nauseous feeling as you look at the door.
Good thing I'm super religious.
Mm-hmm. In touch with the gods.
Yeah, that I
Just-
curse every day.
Just feeling the aura off of Draxus would probably give you inspiration. Or
Yeah, Draxus
Yeah,
can
yeah.
aid you and be like, I'm a little better at this kind of stuff, and go ahead and make it an advantage.
14.
14. You are unsure, but Draxus thinks that this sigil is the sigil of the dead.
Cool. Is there a matching one on any one of the hands?
It does not seem to be. Maybe it's the one that crumbled to dust as Radislav pulled the desk.
Dick move, old man. I'll grab the dust from the hand and like shove it in the sigil.
If you push your hand on the sigil, you feel that the door is not locked in any way. You have a feeling that you could probably push it open with some effort.
Gosh, damn unlocked doors. Yep. Hey guys. And I just kind of lean on it and open it.
You push it, and it takes more than a lean, but as you push open the door, you are hit with a blast of ice cold air that chills you to your bone, and just kind of almost like opening up a giant freezer, just exhales out into the room, chilling you all.
I was already cold as fuck, so might as well make it worse.
This door that you just opened up, the one with the dead sign or the sigil of the dead on it, seems to open up into a massive room. The light does not go as far as the
Don't need it.
darkness sees. You, however, with your dark vision, can faintly see out in the black and white infrared kind of vision that you have. Rose,
Predator vision.
There's basically like this central kind of walkway right down going from west to east where you're currently in line, but flanking on each side of this walkway are rows upon rows of praying plinths. These little kind of stone, black carved stones, about 3 by 3, just rows of them, as far as you can see with your dark vision.
I'll call the group over and explain what I see, and then as soon as Drax gets there, it'll light up and everyone can really see it.
Drax, I'm assuming you head forward into the room.
Absolutely. This is my mission. This is what I'm here for.
You begin to confidently walk, and as you start to make your way into this giant room, the roof being higher than your light can actually illuminate, you begin to hear rattling chains.
From where?
Inside the darkness of this area.
I peer into the darkness of this area and locate the sound of the chains.
Can make a perception check at disadvantage.
Disadvantage? I can see!
You can see as if the light is dimmed.
Bruh, I got 60 feet of dark vision.
That's how dark vision works, bruh.
Alright, I see how this is. 16.
16. You see in the center of this room, there are 12 chains hanging down about 10 feet from the top of this wall. You're 60 feet, can see the ceiling, and there seems to be dozens or like a bunch of different chains. But in the center, kind of forming this makeshift circular chandelier, are 10 chains that hang deeper and longer, and on each of them is a frozen skull that is jawless. With that roll, you also know, as you kind of making your way into the room, that the walls are painted with murals. It opens up, and this room is this is a weird description, but it's almost like mushroom shaped, and you guys are coming from the stem portion of the mushroom, and it opens up into this enormous chapel where there's these plinths all kind of in different rows. You see on the northeast wall is a massive bone organ. You see on the eastern wall is an altar with a skull, an enormous skull opening up its mouth. Towards the southeast is a door and 2 basins, and towards the north is another single door.
2 doors that way, 1 door that way. Change chandelier with skulls, organ over there, and an altar with a skull, giant skull. Does the altar with the giant skull look like the skull from the painting that I'm carrying?
No. The painting that you're carrying showed literally like a giant sized skeleton standing against the wall.
Okay.
This is just the skull of an open mouth, and the mouth kind of has stairways that lead up into the altar, so you would literally need to enter this thing's mouth to mount the altar. You do see as you make your way in that there is a bowl on the top of this altar.
I point out the bowl to the super religious guy, Drax, and I head over to the pipe organ.
Pipe organ. I should mention that as you enter this room, the sound, that nail on chalkboard, it grows louder, but also you're starting to notice now that it's more rhythmic. And it's almost as if someone's playing some horrible, out of tune, distant, planar melody that you as mortals do not understand or find pleasurable, but there is some rhythm and cadence to it. It's not coming from the organ, as you would suspect. But what does everybody else do as Robert treks off towards this organ in the darkness? Keeping in mind that unless you guys produce another light, only Draxus's light is the only source of light you guys have.
Draxus walking into the room will hear the sound of the chains moving, look to the bowl that Robert has pointed out for him in the altar with the giant skull. It's very dim light, just probably touching the edge of it, needing to walk closer to it. But then he'll notice the murals on the wall, and he'll just start studying the murals on the wall. He'll take his time, and he'll go along the wall with his torch, and I'll do a history check, see if I can learn anything from them, maybe?
Yeah. And while you're rolling that, I want to just see what Danny and Radislav are doing, and then we'll just start resolving all the actions. So Danny and Radislav, what are you guys doing? Go ahead and make your roll, Draxus, and I'll come back to you.
Probably before I left that other room, I would have tried to figure out what ritual they were doing and maybe what the purpose was with all the skulls with sigils on them.
Are you proficient? Are you proficient in Arcana?
I'm not proficient.
Okay. What do you want to roll a check then?
Maybe investigation.
You can roll investigation, yeah, for sure. See what you get.
15.
15. You can't really think of a reason why like 13 skeletal hands would just be etched with runes and placed on these tables. It doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense to you. Radislav, what are you doing?
Radislav is going to light a torch.
Okay, producing his own source of light.
Yeah. He follows Draxus for a little while, but then he kind of gets bored of the murals and wants to go look around. You said that there were some chains with skulls on them.
In the center of the room is 12 chains dangling up. To you, it'd be about 15 feet up in the air. I'm reaching up with my hand, but realizing that you guys don't see my camera and the stream is busted with the camera anyways. But yeah, basically forming this circular kind of makeshift chandelier is these long chains with the jawless frozen skeletons or skulls.
All right, he would be sure to stay away from those.
Yeah.
And instead go check out the, did you say there were bases?
Basins towards the southeastern section of this room.
Basins. He would go check out the basins and just look inside them and see what's in there.
Okay. And Danny, any missions that you wish to finish off in this room, or are you just going to hang out investigating the nightstands for a bit longer?
Yeah, I would get kind of frustrated that I couldn't figure out whatever ritual they were doing. Mm-hmm. And then I would head into the mushroom. And I'm just going to go in the middle of the chandelier and just look up and see if there's anything in the middle of this circle of jawless.
Okay, now we're going to go in order. Robert, what do you do as you approach this this organ? You see that the keys look to be made of finger bones. The pipes of the organ, as they go up the length of this massive chapel, seem to be made of thigh bones of some enormous animal. And as you look up at the tip of these pipes, you see that they are stained like sharp, jagged teeth.
I'm going to sit down and stretch my fingers and try and play Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata.
Oh yeah, you begin to play some keys, and it's as if something seems to be stuck in the pipe. You suspect that you'd have to play a little bit harder.
I switch to some chopsticks or something.
So you continue to play.
Really hammer it out.
All right, you begin to hammer out the tune. And give me a. This is going to be nice. This might be.
Gonna be great.
This might be it. This might be it. Give me a Constitution saving throw.
I'm fucking great at those. 21.
21. A poisonous spore shoots out of the pipes, but also dislodges what looks like some kind of sapphire gemstone and a locket. As that actually releases, the pores threaten to kill you, but you luckily are you're constitutional, and you resist the poison, and that does release the organ now, which can play normally. After you do this, though, the whole entire chapel itself begins to tremble. Chunks of wall begin to shift off, and you play chopsticks. And
I switch back to Moonlight Sonata for some appropriate themed music.
All right, give me a D12 roll first.
D12. Ooh, spicy. 12.
12? Okay.
Yeah.
The first thing that you notice is that the otherworldly sound almost seems to reply back in its own little melody. It's not what you're playing, but some distant, horrific version. And suddenly, all the glass in the room shatters.
Glory.
What the heck?
Was there a lot of glass in the room?
There was definitely and also some of the ice along the walls. There was basically glass kind of paintings behind the altar. There's not a whole lot of glass, but there was some of it, and a couple of goblets or whatever shatter.
Gotcha.
Wasn't a lot, but enough to let you guys know that something weird happened.
That was weird.
And then let's see. Okay. Yeah, and that's what happens after you finish that little tune. We will go off to Draxus. You headed up the what'd you roll?
I rolled a 12 on the history check for the murals.
Okay, there's a lot actually. The entire walls are painted. The first one depicts a man with a cape. You can't really see its face. It's completely dark. There's a lot of shading and blackness to this painting, and you see that many massive demons, demons that you'd be familiar with, like the Demogorgon and Orxus and all them, the demons of the realms, are bowing to this entity. Another mural depicts hundreds of naked men impaled on a garden of leaning pikes. Another depicts women all hanging from some giant dark tree. You see another mural which depicts a man stabbed an uncountable amount of times by daggers, and there's blood pooling down from his leg and filling up an hourglass with crimson liquid. Your check doesn't really let you know anything besides the fact that those are recognizable demons that are bowing to this thing.
That'd be enough for me. I'd be like, from this point on, Draxus is on high alert.
There's also the same kind of etchings of the Duvanku language underneath a lot of these murals, but again, unreadable, unfortunately. Next up, we have Radoslav. What were you doing again?
I was checking out the 2 basins.
Okay, you walk up to these basins that are basically molded to the wall, and you see that there is black, viscous-looking liquid in each of them. Also, right next to this is a bronze door.
Oh, and there's a bronze door next to it. Huh?
There's basically a basin on each side of the door.
I'll give it a little bit of a sniff. I don't touch the liquid with my hands, but I would probably if there's a rock or a stick on the ground, try to look at the consistency a little bit, maybe try to identify what's going on with the 2 liquids, if they're the same, if they're different.
Yeah.
I've got nature. Can I try that?
You got what, sorry?
Nature?
Nature, yeah. Thanks to the playing of the organ, there's some stone that dislodged from the wall from the trembling, and you pick it up and you plop it in. Go ahead and roll your nature check. It smells like disgusting stagnant water.
12.
12. Yeah, you plunk it into the water. You don't really.
So it's not super viscous. It's like a watery
Yeah,
consistency.
a little bit thicker than water, but still very watery, and the stone does sink.
Okay. And it smells really bad.
Smells like old stagnant water.
Gotcha. And I can't see into the water at all.
No.
Like there might be something in there.
You hold the torch up to it, and you just see your own shadowy figure looking down at you, but the figure itself looks skeletal with sunken dark eyes.
God. It's pretty horrible. Are there any like are the basins like plain, or do they have any sort of art or like?
They have a rather impressive but horrifying carving of thousands of bodies laying on top of each other.
Charming. All right. Well, I guess I'll have a look at the door. Does it have a doorknob, a lock?
The door itself is, let me just get to it here. It's a door made of bronze, and other than that, you would see one of these runes marked on it. The runes that escape your time frame and understanding of language.
That's all I got.
All right, over to Danny. What you got going on? You're staring up into.
Yeah.
Go
Looking
ahead.
at the chandelier.
Do you produce your own torch, or are you an elf also?
No,
No,
I'm a human.
You're a human.
But I just kind of use the residual like from.
Yeah, now that everyone's kind of went their own direction, you're left in the darkness. This room is kind of bigger enough. You can see Draxus kind of making his way around the perimeter of the walls. That's the faint bit of light, and Radislav in the southeastern corner. But you're kind of left in the center in darkness.
Okay, I guess I would light a torch.
Torch lit. You look up, and give me a perception check.
21.
21. You don't see anything at first, but as you guys spend some time in this chapel, all kind of like slowly, carefully going through it, not wanting to poke and prod too much, you're looking up, and one of the frozen skulls fall off and shatter to the ground. There's now 11.
Is there anything that I noticed about the shattered skull, like in terms of what it could be made out of, how it dislodged?
You don't really. As you look at it, it does seem to be made of actual human bone, old and frozen. You don't know how it dislodged, though. The others seem to be on there rather sturdily. Maybe the chains, that particular link on that particular skull was just older than the rest for some reason. It seems hard to fathom, but for some reason it gave way.
I think I'm going to move over to, I kind of see that Ragislav is, he was looking at the basin, and I kind of want to help him out and see with Mage Hand if I could reach in there and find anything in the basin.
You begin to channel the spell of Mage Hand, and this spectral hand comes out and then slowly descends into the dark liquid, vanishing. You channel it in and you scoop up a big handful. And as it resurfaces out of the water, you see that the hand is completely full of small little white stones, you think at first. But as you get closer, you realize that it's a handful of human teeth. In that handful, though, seems to be something else. A small box.
I'm gonna open the box. Or have my mage hand open the box.
Yeah, you
I
let,
stand 20 feet back.
you let the human teeth plunk back into the water and begin to put the box back down on the ground and open it up. And what you find in that box is a small little locket. Looks to be worth 100 silver.
Would I have seen the locket that came out of the organ?
No, you have not seen it yet, but I imagine Robert's like, yeah, there's a locket in here.
Fuck that! It's mine. I don't tell nobody shit.
Your locket has a value for also, it's 250 silver. The sapphire looks to be worth 1,300 silver.
What is this
I'm gonna open
crazy
my locket.
silver math?
The locket opens up and it depicts a portrait relief of a man in these archaic kind of robes, retrofitted towards the locker. Or towards the locket, sorry. So just basically kind of like drawn on there.
And what's in my locket?
The man in robes.
Your locket is just a sign of the same one on the door, the sign of the dead. It's a document.
And then, is there anything special about this sapphire?
Just a nice sapphire worth some money. Finally, your climb up this mountain is beginning to pay off, although you hope that there's more than this, or else it might not be quite worth it.
Sorry, what did you say?
I was just telling him the worth of the locket.
Oh.
Nothing in particular. You see a picture of a man. It's kind of up to you guys now as you're sitting in this, kind of not sure what to do. Just to recap, what you haven't toyed with yet is the skull altar. Radislav, this bronze door, if you were to have tried it, is actually indeed locked. But towards the north is just a normal wooden door.
Draxus would eventually make his way to the altar and just, do an investigation of it quick.
All right. Do you mount inside the fanged mouth to climb the stairs and see what's in the bowl?
Fuck yeah.
You walk up and you see, looking inside the bowl, is a beautifully jewel-encrusted dagger that seems untouched by the time, and a ruby necklace that shimmers.
I'm going to do an Arcana check on the dagger before I touch it.
Okay. Are you proficient in Arcana?
Yep.
All right.
Oh, that's a 21.
21. This dagger is definitely magical. Although without a detect magic or an identify, you're not really sure what is the magic, but you sense the energy and maybe depict these faint etchings of runes of magical power on the dagger.
I'll do a quick prayer to my my deity, and then I will reach down and grab the dagger.
All right. You have it.
I'll just pocket it, do a little quick study of it, check out, see if there's any dried blood, or not interested in value, but possibly ceremonial impact, and then I'll just pocket it.
Okay. Are you keeping it on your person, or are you putting it in a pouch?
I'll be keeping it on my person.
All right, because if you do spend an hour with it, you will attune to it.
Sweet.
The necklace also seems to be magical.
I will take the necklace, but that will end up going into a pouch or a bag.
Okay. Anybody else? We'll open up the floor since we kind of seem to be at a standstill. What does anybody else want to do?
Yeah, I'll head over to the altar.
Mm-hmm.
There's a liquid in some bowls.
The basin has the liquid. The altar is
Oh.
just a bowl with the now nothing in it. You ask, I don't know if Draxus tells you that he found something, but he has now emptied the bowl of its belongings.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
I'll
I'll
be happy to
head
show
over to the basin. I'm not concerned about what he got and I didn't. I got shit too.
Okay. You head over to the basin. Danny says that she has found a locket with a picture of a man in it, and that the basins seem to have human teeth deep inside the dark black water.
Has anyone touched the water?
Just a mage hand.
Just with me.
Can I do like a survival check to see if it's poison or anything?
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, super survivally. Yep, yeah. That's a nat one.
Nat
Enjoy
one.
your inspiration.
I will enjoy my inspiration, which now
It's definitely not poisonous, right?
which now resets to 1. We all start with 1 inspiration for the record, and yeah, this water is, you have no clue, black water.
Can I stick a finger in it?
You stick a finger in it, and it instantly disintegrates. Just kidding. You just dip your finger into it.
The water or my finger?
Nothing happens. You dip your finger in it. It's ice cold, but that's all.
Swirl it around. Nothing happens.
Nothing happens.
Lick it.
Lick it. Give me a Constitution saving throw.
I'm gonna use my inspiration. 19.
19. You succeed, but to
Woo!
your horror,
Still not dead.
as you dipped it on your tongue, you start to feel your mouth ache, and then really start to hurt, and it's as if something is stabbing into your gums, and you run your fingers along it, and now realize that you have grown 6 more teeth that are now kind of like all jagged and pointed out in different directions.
Yeah.
Robert, you shouldn't have done that.
No, this is good. I can chew better now. I can chew before I chew. It's great. Fuck.
All right, so should we try out the wooden door or the bronze door?
Oh, there's something I gotta
Weren't
tell
there
you
3
guys.
doors?
What?
Weren't there 3 doors?
The bronze door is a double door, and the
Oh.
go ahead, though,
What'd you
Danny.
forget to tell us?
Well, when I was looking at those
The
chains
water's
with the
poisoned.
skulls- Oh yeah, the water's poisoned. And then there were these chains with the skulls, and
Mhm.
one of them fell off, but there
Uh-huh.
were 12 total. What do you guys think that means?
I think one of them fell off, and now there's 11.
Could it be some type of clock? 12 hours in a day? Every hour one skull falls off?
Old man, I don't know how long you've been around, but there's more than 12 hours in a day.
What, 12 hours on the clock face?
What's a clock?
As Draxus starts to
It's
walk
like a
up to the
sundial.
as Draxus walks up to the group, he's like, "Skulls. One fell off," and then I will go and investigate the chains myself.
One has fallen off. Danny, have you shown the group the locket that you found with the picture of the man?
Oh yeah, I do that too.
Draxus, you realize that this man has a striking resemblance to one of the murals. The mural of the man who has been stabbed by the countless daggers and had his blood dripping into an hourglass. They look eerily alike. As you go and investigate the skulls,
I'd
go
be
ahead.
concentrating more of what's up than down. I want to see if there's. I heard chains rattle when we came in. I passed it off as maybe a breeze from opening the door, but now I feel like there might be something, a reason why these chains might have moved, and I'd like to investigate the ceiling above them if I can.
Okay, go ahead and investigate.
Blam for a 15.
15. You stand there for a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, looking around, investigating.
I will grab all the chains together and
You-
swing them around.
You can't reach the chains. You'd have to like basically somehow find a way to get 15 feet up into the air.
You're like super negative tonight, man. What the hell?
Jump and hit him with a stick.
I will throw the broken skull up to see if I can rattle the chains.
All right, you do so.
Nothing happens.
Nothing happens.
I'm gonna go back to the bulls.
All right.
Be like, yeah, it was fucking pointless.
Dude, I agree.
I
Which door was locked? Let's go unlock the door.
The bronze door was locked. Maybe your mage hand could unlock it?
oh yeah. My mage hand goes to unlock it.
All
I
right.
stand 25 feet back.
As you look, there seems to be no, although the door is locked, no locking mechanism.
Whoa.
Give me a religion check, Draxus. At advantage.
I guide you.
You get a D4
I walk
also.
up to you as you're thinking, and I sort of put my hand on your back.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, okay. The
Use
16,
your memory.
16 boosts up to an 18.
18. You remember in some of your temples, obviously much different than this temple in particular, that there were certain doors that have been locked, and the only way to get into them was by making an offering. This kind of sigil and locking, this kind of door reminds you of that. Another skull falls now, as you
Robert,
guys
should
have
offer
been
your teeth.
in this room for some time.
Feeling with the knowledge of the possible secret lock to the door, and starting to realize the whole aura of this place, Draxus will feel as though it's a good idea. He will pull the dagger from his belt, run the blade across the scaly hand, and put the bloody hand up against the door.
All right, give yourself a D4 damage.
I'll do that.
And I just want to make sure that everyone has heard me now that you have been down in this chamber, because like time is just kind of passing by as we're at a standstill here. You've been in it for roughly 20 some minutes now, and you heard another skull drop. 10 skulls left now.
Does the blood on the door do anything to help?
It does not.
Ooh.
Blood does
Just-
not seem to be the offering.
I will tell the group, this door seems to need an offering.
You
I
step
thought
back.
it might have been blood.
You step back in between the two basins of dark water, which kind of form this archway for the door. And yeah, you heard a second skull drop off.
I'll look to
I
Robert.
agree with Danny. Robert, you've got a few extra teeth maybe to spare.
Yes, that could be it.
It sounds painful.
I reach up and pull a spare tooth out.
Now, luckily, since you
Aw.
grew some nasty new ones, these ones don't come out as tough, but they seem to be rotted in your mouth.
that
But it
smells so
still
gross.
hurts like hell. Give yourself a D4 damage as you rip out a rotten, now grown-in tooth.
It's probably better for your mouth.
Probably.
Or room.
Max damage.
4
course.
damage as you spit out this bloody tooth that deeply rooted itself in the side of your gums and now sits in your hand, a big clot of blood with it. Do you drop it into the basin?
I do. Well, no, I try and whatever I think will unlock the door with it. Is it a basin?
You drop it into the basin.
Okay, yeah. Then I drop it
That's
into
where
the
all the
basin.
teeth were.
And you hear a click of the door.
I
I wasn't going
I-
to do that.
go push the door open.
You push the door open.
Look at me, opening doors like a boss.
This otherworldly grating noise grows even louder as wherever it's coming from seems to be in this direction. It leads to a crossword.
Crossword.
It leads to a crossroad of doorways. Two doors to the north and east seem to be locked by some wheeled mechanism twisting device. It's a great description. And the south seems to lead down into another opened up room. So you're faced with 2 doors locked by some turning vault-like system, and then that's on the north and east. And then southward, the hall slightly leads down into an opening room that you cannot make out from where you stand.
I have dark vision.
You slightly make out the room hallway, but still can't see into it.
Right.
If you walk down,
Do all the doors look the same?
Yeah, they do look the same. These ones seem to be reinforced stone, and they basically on the side of the panel or on the side of the wall have this turning mechanism that is like a pulley system that would seemingly open up the doors, each one for its own door. So one to the north, one to the east.
I pick a door north, the north one, and open it.
I'll take the east and open it at the same time.
All right.
Tag team. We high five.
Nice. You guys begin to crank open the door, and Draxus, you open up yours first, and it leads into this labyrinth-like room. As you take a step in, you see that stacked in honeycomb-like patterns are rows upon rows of mummified individuals. It seems that you have found your way into one of the catacombs. As Robert finishes opening up his doorway, it leads into a very long and dark hallway, which carries on past your dark vision, more than 60 feet into the darkness. And then if you were to now kind of you're now looking southward, you can see that southward also opens up into a room that seems to have 4 stone slabs just stationed around like tables down towards the south.
Well, it seems I might have found some graves. What do you see, my friend?
Same deal. Say we start robbing. I mean, repurposing.
You mean praying,
accepting
don't you?
offerings.
There we go.
All right, what is everyone doing?
Tough call. I'm going to keep the door open for a few minutes, figure out what the rest of the group wants to do.
All right, if you let go of the mechanism, the door doesn't start to reseal itself.
Then I will let go.
All right.
I head into my room and start looting furiously.
So
if there's any
your room,
anything
to clarify, the northern room is an absolutely never-ending, it seems, hallway of darkness. If you were to start carrying down it further, I guess if you were to step in with your dark vision, you can make out maybe about 60 feet down is a door to the east.
I got a door on my end. You got something on your end? You got bodies? Making donations?
Seems as though I have remains. The door to the east. Yeah.
And if you were to look at the remains a little bit more, you would see that they are priestly-looking remains.
When I hear that,
Priest?
I would go
Pass.
Draxus.
Yeah, if they're priestly remains, I'm studying the fucking room, man.
Yeah, for sure. Make a study. Anyone that wants to check it out, do an investigation check.
Me.
I guide you.
I'm guided.
All right.
Whoa, nat 20.
Oh man, nat 20 plus 5 for investigation plus 1d4 for guidance.
That's awesome. I only had 13, so I'm taking her roll.
27.
27. All right.
Knows all the
Diamond,
things.
the most magical item in the whole game.
Just spending a quick 10 minutes in there, you find 30 gold. You find let me see here. That's a really high roll, so I got to give you something. You find a robe on one of the priests that all the other ones are kind of mummified, but this one in particular seems to be in perfect repair, not a scratch or rip on it. It's just this deep maroon cloak that one of the mummies wears.
I'm gonna put it on.
You're gonna put it on. All right, you put it on. Obviously, since it hasn't.
You guys, look out.
deteriorated. You get the sense that it has some magical properties, but without an identify, you'll have to spend an hour with it to attune. You find some plain looking stones, but as you flip them over, you see that there is basically two faces on each of the stones, a side profile of the face with like a little hole in the ear and a hole in the mouth, and they just both look like they're speaking.
Probably sending stones.
I don't know what those are.
Me neither in character. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's
Cool,
just
I'll pocket them.
10 minutes spent there. Like this is just to reinform that this is like a labyrinth of like honeycombs worth of crypts and dead people buried here, so like thousands of them. And if you were to venture around the room, you would see a spiral staircase in the northern eastern quarter of this room, and if you were to carry even down the staircase even a little bit, you would reveal that it opens up into a similar shaped room upon endless rows of more catacombs. So basically there are thousands of priests buried here.
I'll just drop to my knees and start praying.
As you look at them, Draxus, these priests, their robes and whatnot do not seem to match yours in any way. They're all kind of what's left of the tattered remains are black. They have sigils of the dead on them, others that you don't recognize. They are buried with cruel-looking weapons and devices. You get the sense that these priests share very little of the same beliefs that you did.
I would still pray for their souls, but I understand they're probably the eviler.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let me mark off what you guys found. So yeah, if you spend, the more time you spend in here, like the more shit you could potentially find. But already 10 minutes has passed as you guys have kind of walked around now.
I'll investigate some bodies for some sweet grave robbing loot.
All right, go ahead and get on it. Give me an investigation check.
Not as good as some other people's. 13.
13. You find 8 gold worth of like random rings and jewelry.
Woo!
Seeing Danny and Rob starting to basically, defile the graves of these dead people.
Pillage and loot.
Draxus as a paladin would usually say something, but oddly at this point he's not. He's just kind of got a smirk on his face and doesn't seem to be bothering him at all.
Oh, I should also mention, Danny, I almost missed this. You find buried beneath one of the dead is a scroll, and as you open it up, or do you open it up? You do open it up, you see that there is some musical score buried on it. The title of the scroll is not in a language you recognize, as this is a reoccurring thread or reoccurring trend here, but it does seem to be some ancient music's notes written on the paper.
Okay, I'm gonna show that to everyone else.
I take out my flute and try to play it.
All right, give me a performance check.
I guide myself.
You can guide yourself?
I think you can.
Yeah.
13.
You play it, but it's actually a little more complex than you were expecting, and you play it decently, but nothing happens.
Robert, do you think the organ might have something to do with this?
Probably not. I think it's just someone's got to actually know how to play music.
But you played Beethoven's symphony beautifully. I mean, you must know what you're doing.
No, that's just because I'm good.
Oh, it's raw talent. I understand.
Yeah, I was born this way.
Texas, aren't you a man of the church? Don't you play organs?
No, unfortunately, my sect was very quiet. They didn't like noise.
They were more the stabby kind.
We did a lot of reading.
It's good for the mind.
And you, Druid, the master of the flute, do you think you could play this on keys of a piano or organ?
Unfortunately, my proficiency is only with this flute.
It's a very pretty flute.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, well, let's just keep moving forward then.
Agreed.
All right, so you are done looting the priests of the Duvanku's catacombs.
Yeah, I didn't find anything cool. I'm done.
All right, you head back out into the crossroad and still have the south, which is an open passageway leading into a room, or the north to carry on into.
Someone flip a coin.
Oh, I kind of wanted to go to the opened up room to the south.
All right.
Do that.
Heading southward, you see that the room itself contains 4 stone slabs stained with ancient blood. There's bandages and surgical tools and pieces of shaped iron, as well as a podium with a book on it. You also see that there is 4 spherical alchemist flasks that are partially filled with clear liquid, labeled in some ancient language.
I definitely head over to those.
All right, you do.
Give it a good sniff. Try and determine what the hell it is.
It is scentless.
Can I look at it and determine what it is?
You can give an investigation check, see if it
At this point,
Gosh.
Draxus is just staring at Rob, going, "Okay, when's it gonna happen?"
I have an herbalism kit. Would that help? Would I have like maybe like a small amount of powder or plant that I could put out and like put a drip of that on there to see how it reacts and maybe get some information about what the compound is?
Yeah, I can give him an advantage.
All right, I'll take it. Yeah, no, didn't get any better. 14.
14. You realize that it's definitely not any substance that you've seen before. You and Radislav don't recognize it, although eerily you kind of make a connection that this liquid seems to be kind of the similar liquid that was draining out of the abomination bear, along with it didn't
The time.
Liquid time.
Liquid time.
This is liquid time, guys.
So first things first, are all 4 vials the same?
Yeah, well, like partially filled to a different degree, but they all seem to be the same substance.
Okay. I'm gonna like just chuck one in like an empty corner of the room.
Okay. You do
Just
so,
to see what happens.
and it slams into the wall, shatters, and spills onto the floor.
But nothing else happens?
As you stare at it, how long do you stare?
Like 10 seconds.
Nothing happens.
All right. I'll take another one
Okay.
and like
What? Dude, you're drinking the liquid time. Look what they did to that bear.
Yeah, Draxus knew this was coming. He's like, "Yeah, it's about time." All right.
All right. He goes for it. This guy wants to die.
he's just here to try all the things.
I respect that. So, the first thing that happens, let me find it here. I like that you're pulling all the bells and whistles. This makes this a whole lot more fun.
If only I could read all the things. I'm sure it'd be more interesting.
Yeah. So, give me a D4 first of all.
All right. 2.
2. Perfect. And then give me a D100 roll.
Sweet. It's liquid purple lotus. 54.
54. Excellent. Your eyes roll back in your head and you're taken to a scene of horrible torment. There is a man being hung upside down naked, and there's two individuals standing beside him with a saw and currently sawing him in half down the center slowly as blood drips down from him, and you're just screaming and screaming, and you feel this searing pain rip up you, and you lunge forth at Radislav. Go ahead and make an attack.
Get ready to get fucked up, bro. Wait, what am I attacking with?
Your weapon, whatever you have for melee.
For melee? Okay. Yeah, you're not gonna get fucked up, bro. You'll be alright.
You're looking for 16.
You now see that 11. You miss, but you see that Radislav, Draxus, and Danny have transformed, and they are the individuals that were sawing you in half. And if you don't fight for your life right now, they are going to brutally murder you. Roll initiative.
God damn it.
I'm gonna murder the fuck out of all of you.
19.
19.
20.
20.
14.
14.
5.
5. Robert, you are the quickest to act. You pull back your weapon and go ahead and lunge on whoever you want, attacking. These guys are trying to murder you. Your friends are now gone, and you have to survive from being tortured to death. Who do you attack? What do you do?
I will. I'll turn to the druid and use face step to actually, I guess turning to him wouldn't matter. I would face step away from the whole party. And whoever's within 5 feet needs to make a DC 11 wisdom save.
All right, I think you attacked Draxus first, so he's definitely closest.
Wait, no.
Radislav, sorry. Yeah,
Radislav.
Yeah,
so whoever was standing next to Radislav has to make the save.
Natural 1.
Hey, I'll take that.
You are frightened of me for 1 minute, and you can't attack me unless it's a disadvantage, and you have to use your movement to run as far away from me as possible.
I run away.
All right. Anything else on your turn?
Fuck yeah, that was a bonus action. I'm gonna murder the shit out of him. I'll take 2 shots at Radislav.
All right.
But he's running away.
You shoot twice?
Yeah, because extra attack.
At level 3, you have extra attack?
Fighter?
Wait.
Oh.
No, he's right. My bad.
No worries.
But I will action surge on you. So 1 shot. But it's still a nat 20.
All right. Go ahead.
1d8 6.
TPK from Robert.
And then I will use. He's already feared for me, so no, I won't use a superiority die. We'll just do 14 damage.
Okay.
I'm still up. Barely.
Barely.
Should be
I will action surge and shoot Danny.
All right. Shoot away.
That one's shittier, so that might not hit. Actually, no, that's gonna hit. 20, not natural.
Wow.
It's gonna do it.
Yeah, that hits.
Yeah, remember last time when I got that super extra bonus to Dex?
Yeah.
It's coming back to bite everyone in the ass right now. I have +10 to hit.
Don't do Purple Lotus, kids.
Do Purple Lotus all the time. So I will use.
I'm gonna do absorb elements and reaction to
That's
it.
not gonna help you.
I mean shield.
Shield?
Yeah.
Shield.
Wait, that still doesn't help me.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No,
Never mind.
Well, no, shield bumps your AC by 5. So if it's higher than.
Mine doesn't.
Doesn't help.
No. I'm
Doesn't
a
help
13.
enough? All
No,
right, yeah.
okay.
That fucking works.
I will do a trip attack. So a superiority die trip attack.
Go for it.
So that'll be a strength save against an 11.
All right. Make a strength save.
I don't think
And
it's gonna
2d8 plus 6.
That's 10.
10. So yeah,
Alright.
you fall prone. So
Oh, I'm gonna do a luck putt.
all right, go for it. You succeed. Spend it.
Yeah, no, good. And then it's 13 damage.
All right. Jesus.
Oh, I die.
You go down.
You're down?
Yeah.
Nice. All right, make a wisdom saving throw, Robert.
Oh, wisdom save. Sorry.
No worries.
Let's not. 3. No, wait. Wisdom. Yeah, 3.
3? All right. That's not enough to get this possession out of you. Danny, death saving throw.
That's
so-
success.
Success.
That's gone. That's gone.
Draxus.
Those.
You see Robert suddenly begin to scream in agony, and then when he snaps out of it, he phases away, attacking Radislav and Danny, and dropping Danny and almost crippling Radislav in 2 quick blows. What do you do?
Believing that Robert has been possessed by the evil that is within these walls, I will raise my Morning Star and charge. I'm fucking coming, man. So that is a 19 to hit.
That'll hit.
All right, I'm gonna be using radiant damage with my divine smite.
PvP. PvP.
TPK. TPK.
That is 19 damage.
Still standing.
And as my bonus action, I will. Danny is down. Is Radislav down?
He's clinging on for
Radislav's
dear
not
life.
down.
Radislav will be. I'm going to cast Sanctuary on Radislav. So any other creature trying to make another attack towards him has to make a Wisdom save first.
All right. Next up. Or anything else?
Just screaming, "Leave this man!" as I do it.
All right. Smash him with your Morning Star. There's a sickening slam against his skin as you hear bones crack and blood gush out. Radislav, you're deeply inhaling as 2 arrows now, or an arrow sinks into your chest, almost wounding you mortally. Once again, you see that this time, though, it is Robert Hod who has turned on you, maybe in another one of his drunken or his drug-induced rages. What do you do?
Classic Rob. I have, as I'm like falling down to my knees about to die, you see healing energy start to form in my hand as I like start touching around the chest wound, and then I look up and see Danny fall to one of the arrows, and right at the last moment I divert the energy and cast Healing Word on Danny.
Nice. D4 plus your mod.
Yeah. That'll be 6 hit points back.
Nice. Pretty good. That's bonus action
That's
spent.
my bonus action. For my action. Oh man. I'm gonna take some cover.
Okay. Behind one of those stone slabs, there's lots to do so. Yep. Go ahead.
Yep. And I'm just gonna go full defense.
All right. You ready a guard mode, defensive stance or whatever it's called, dodge. Does he get to save at the end of his turn, or is it just for the full minute? I think it's the full minute. I think you said.
Let's see. Hold on. I gotta find the.
Either way, though, unluckily for Robert, because I feel like he was enjoying this too much, I rolled really well, and the possession only lasted for 1 round. So, as the round begins anew, you deeply exhale and feel the tortured soul that came into you after drinking this liquid released, and you now look around the room and see that your friends are badly injured, and Draxus is yelling in front of you to get out of him.
I would completely believe that it was me that cast the demon away from Robert.
I'm a real paladin.
I'll go with that. I'll hug Draxus and say, "Thank you. You freed me from the demon."
But I forgot to mention that as you come back through this vision that you were having, you were so violently going through it that you began to bite your own tongue off, and you suffer 4 damage from clenched jawing the tongue in your mouth.
I'm unconscious.
He goes to thank you maybe for releasing the soul from him, but all he does is spit out a big chunk of blood as you see that his tongue is bleeding and drops to the floor unconscious.
Before he hits the ground, I will hold him and cast Cure Wounds.
All right.
Because now that I believe that I've cast the demon out of my friend, he will heal for 6 points of HP.
6 points of HP. What is the rest of the party doing now after a minute wears off and you're no longer feared? Apparently, Draxus would probably inform you he was possessed by some evil entity, but I imagine tensions are now high.
We saw him drink the thing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We were all over there investigating it together.
Yeah.
And so I would come out from behind the stone after my minute of fear is over, and I'm like just cowering back there, peeking my head out, and be like, "You fool! That was clearly very dangerous. You are reckless. You're going to get us all killed."
He puts everything in his body, doesn't he?
I find some
What
dirt
were
on
you
the ground
thinking?
and start sniffing it.
Jeez.
Hey
dang.
man, life's about trying things.
Can't argue.
All right.
I'd like to sit down and take a break before we keep going, if that's all right with everybody.
Little short rest.
Yeah,
I
if
feel
that's
like
cool.
that might be a good idea. And I'm going to cast Divine Sense before we take our rest, just so that through our rest, I'll feel if anything evil is coming at us.
Now, you remember what happened the last time you took a rest, right? Or a divine sense, sorry.
Yeah, no, both, actually. I remember what happened both times, yeah.
All right. Wisdom saving throw.
Yeah. I love my group, man. I love my group. I'll do anything for these motherfuckers until I don't need them anymore. 12.
12? All right. That is not enough to save. And again, you are torrented with more scenes of horrible violence. And basically, because I'm just kind of beating a head dead horse now for a bad pun, you see lots of violence. But basically, the reason they're doing this is they're extracting something from every victim that they're torturing. And you're getting these scenes. And you are overcome by it, and what happens to you? Are going to get a D100 roll.
That's not going to be good. That's 15.
15, that's great. That's not so great.
It'll be fine.
You now suffer a long-term madness as the divine sense on the mountain was violent and obtrusive, but this being in the shrine is worse than ever and drives you onto the brink of insanity. You are beginning to hallucinate.
You are Jesus.
You are beginning to hallucinate these individuals. So you just basically see them standing next to you now, screaming in agony, being flayed and all kinds of horrible things. And you have these hallucinations now for the next while. And you have disadvantage on all ability checks.
Because I am a paladin and because of my sage history and the whole idea of this whole where he's from and everything else, I'd like to try to take these horrible and excruciating experiences and strengthen myself through them so that at one point my paladin powers will allow me to properly use divine sense in a place like this. So every time it happens to me, I'm just going to continually try to strengthen myself through it.
All right. You can definitely try that, but now
Yeah,
you're on the brink of
I am.
insanity
That's
and
fine.
hallucinating horrible images around you.
And I start talking to them.
All right. As he was doing that before our short rest, I was also doing a little bit of something.
Okay.
I drew a quick circle on the ground with some chalk and drew some very nice pictures of like nature with like some roots and stuff. And as I drew this, the drawing began to take form a little bit more, and I called forth a sort of intangible spirit that appeared in that space. And it looks like a transparent beast or fae. So it'll look like just a small fae creature, and it is going to dole out healing to everyone.
Nice.
So it's 1 minute spell, and until it ends, whenever a creature that I can see moves into the spirit's space for the first time on a turn or starts its turn there, I can cause the spirit to restore 1d6 hit points to that creature with no action required.
Cool.
So it lasts a minute, which is how many rounds? 10 rounds?
Yeah.
So we can each roll up to 10d6 because it activates every single round.
Cool. What spell is that?
Cool.
It's called Healing Spirit.
That's
Cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
From Xanathar's Guide to Everything.
Yeah, that's fun.
I think it would be next.
Woo! Yeah, baby. That was awesome.
And I'm out of second levels.
And don't forget anyone that's spending hit dice that we're playing the slow healing rule, so you can normally only spend 1 hit dice on short rest. But I don't think that's gonna matter.
To my rope.
All right. Yeah, you guys are spending an hour then. Yeah, I guess short rest. Cool. So you guys are going to attune. Okay.
How's that dagger?
Yep, I will reveal that in a second. You reveal as you have the robe on now that you suddenly hear like a clicking sound almost. And then as you look down, you realize that your robes are now magically imbued with a bunch of eyes that seem to be looking around on their own accord. You have the robe of eyes. The robe lets you see in all directions. You have advantage on perception checks that rely on sight. You now have dark vision for 120 feet. You can see invisible creatures and objects, as well as see into the ethereal plane of a total range of 120 feet.
That's legit.
Has it been 80 minutes yet?
Since when?
Since maybe someone got poisoned to get or agree to everything that they were told to do?
Oh no, my timer just went off.
Yeah, no, she definitely is past that time for sure, because you guys have spent 30 minutes and then this happened and you rest for an hour. The eyes on the robe cannot be closed or averted, although you can close your own eyes. You never considered to be, sorry, I'm just reading, a light spell cast on the robe or a daylight spell within 5 feet causes you to be blind for a minute. And at each of it, one of your, so if someone casts a light or a daylight spell, you need to make a con save, or you're blinded for the while the light is there. So that's the one drawback of it. You'll also reveal that the stones are indeed sending stones. You don't need to attune to those, I don't believe, but spending an hour with them reveals their nature. And Draxus, your jewel encrusted dagger reveals itself to be a Vorpal dagger.
That's
but
cool.
it's cursed. And the curse is that you roll all attack rolls now until a remove curse is placed on you at disadvantage. So even if you don't use the dagger, you're now at disadvantage.
Fine. What's a Vorpal dagger?
If you roll a natural 20, you cut off the creature's head and kill it if it has a head.
Oh, I like that.
But you need to roll 2 natural 20s at disadvantage now because of the curse.
Dude, that's rough.
No problem.
All right. I think that's all you guys. Oh wait, you have the pendant too. So let me find that. That is a pendant of. Or you didn't attune to it. Do you need to attune to it? Let me see. Yeah, it requires attunement, so you didn't attune to it.
Okay.
All right, Vorpal Dagger though. Cursed Vorpal Dagger. What do you guys do now that you've rested for an hour? You've been down in this shrine now for an hour and a half, roughly, and it's starting to weigh on your souls.
Got a 5-minute break.
Yeah, for sure. 5-minute break seems like a good time to do so. Let's grab a drink, go to the washroom, do your stuff, and we'll be right back. I just realized that the camera views are the jankiest.
Told you.
Fixes it a bit. I think I'm dropping frames anyways though, so I don't know. Streamlabs did like an update or something, and it like,
Of course.
ever since it did that update, I now get skipped frames.
It's alright. I think we got good audio.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's a podcast now.
Yeah, it's a podcast with random stop picture motions of us reacting.
Every once in a while.
Yeah. Ugh. So, you're really determined to die, I see.
I'm all about trying everything.
If this was Lamentations, you would have been dead 20 times over, but luckily we're playing 5e.
Come at me, bro.
Yeah, it's okay. This almost definitely is ending in a TPK. I mean, happily ever after.
Yeah,
Cool.
man, you ruined my goals of trying to kill everybody. Thanks a lot.
Hey, blame the D4 that I rolled. The possession only lasts for one
Mhm.
round.
Shenanigans D4.
Yeah.
Taking the fun out of everything.
Yeah, I know. That's me. You're not here to have fun. You're here to endure.
I'm here to murder everything. Party members and all.
Well, we'll see. I realize now that you're definitely not crawling through this entire dungeon, but I doubt you would anyways. Everything is
We're
playing
skipping merrily through this dungeon.
up. Yeah. I like how you just like completely avoided the one room, the one door altogether, which is great to me.
Oh, the wood door? Yeah.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah. That's great for me.
Went for the hardcore door.
Hardcore door is where you want to go for sure. If you ever
Hardcore
choose
door.
between a plain wooden door and a sweet bronze door where you have to rip
Yeah,
your
I
teeth
mean,
out to go through, like obviously
It's
you
like
rip your
Indiana
teeth
Jones choosing the chalice, right?
Mhm.
Like, come on, fuck, who goes for the cheesy one?
out. Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Gotta go for that decked out one, bro.
Bruh.
Ah.
Do 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 do. So yeah, if you guys can just beeline it to my big bad evil guy, that'd be great.
You got it, fam.
He might
Getting
have to
there
come
now.
to us, to be honest.
Maybe if you take long enough.
I'm still waiting for my fat loot.
Well, you realistically could have just spent like hours in the priest catacombs and just continued to search. There's more bodies than you could ever actually go through.
There's got to be something better than a priest catacomb.
Priests ran this place, man.
Yeah, but I mean, we got to have like the king's catacomb, the fucking knight's catacomb, fucking the war mage's catacomb. Like,
Mr.
shit.
Praetor Cyrus Carnithrax Maximus, the
Wow.
unvanquished king of a
What's
thousand
up?
worlds. Whoa! Looking kind of horny over there.
Wow.
I'm extremely naughty.
He's ready. He's ready.
That's the demon that I fought.
Yeah. That's what you've seen. All right, you guys ready to get through this?
Oh man.
We're willing to try.
I was just telling.
All hail Radislav the demon.
I was telling.
I'm low on spells, guys.
I was telling Dan and Robert that this is definitely going to end happily ever after.
Oh, I can
Totes,
tell.
totes, totes.
All right. Your rest is now over. And like I said, the weight of this place is weighing down on your souls oppressively. You are hearing that never-ending scratching rhythmic sound that is even louder in this area, never relenting. You continually swear that you hear whispers and screams in the distance, and you're just exhausted being here. Speaking of which, everyone give me a Constitution saving throw. And does that count as an ability check? I feel like a saving throw is a saving throw is not an ability check.
Correct.
I'll use my inspiration.
All
I
right.
don't want to be exhausted. Great. I'm exhausted anyways. Actually,
You can spend your luck points. You got 4 left.
Is it 19?
fuck it, I'll take the exhaustion.
All right.
15.
1 point of exhaustion to anyone who rolled less than 10.
I'm exhausted.
Can't kill me.
Or
yet.
who has super handsome looking horns?
Yes. Either one of
No,
those
those people take double exhaustion.
Either of those are a category for 1 single point of exhaustion.
That's okay. It'll be easy to roleplay. I'm exhausted in real life too.
There we go. 1 point of exhaustion though, or are you more at the 2 point level?
I'm at one.
All right, cool. Well, what do you guys do? Let's get through it.
All
I
right.
want to go to the altar in the room.
Going to the altar in
Or-
the room.
Oh, the book.
You want to go to the book? Okay. I forgot we were in this room. Guess what? It is a book in ancient language that you guys do not understand. This dungeon is like really lackluster if someone doesn't bring a comprehend language spell.
I'm really surprised that the robe of eyes doesn't read the text.
Oh, good point. The Robe of Eyes does read the text.
It
and,
does now, motherfucker.
This book is called The Grimoire of New Flesh.
I've been to that bar. New flesh.
Sounds like it could heal us.
Better than old flesh.
Nope. I'm too dumb to know anything about this.
If you were to flip through it, the eyes, we're going to say let you read even quicker than normal, even because you have more eyes reading on it.
Yep.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Legit.
Right?
Checks out.
It speaks of creating unthings. So not things, but unthings. And basically these unthings, if you get enough material of flesh and somehow perform a strong electrical charge, you can animate flesh and attach it to yourself and attach it to other living things and animate this flesh. And depending on how good you are at it and how proficient you are in the grimoire of new flesh, depends on how good your unthing will be. It does take some time and effort and money and a strong electrical current, though. So you begin to put together that maybe this is some kind of experiment of how the Abomination Bear was made. But you don't know if you want to spend the time, because it does take about 2 weeks worth of work to create one of these unthings. Up to you guys if you
Can
want
I just take the book with me?
Absolutely. It would probably fetch for a nice price. To be exact, worth 100 gold.
Oh wow.
Ooh.
We should start picking up all these books.
To the
And I'm gonna
right
take
to the right
a
seller.
Vial of the time.
Yeah, so there's 2 vials left of this liquid that you are guessing is liquid time.
Has it been 12 hours yet?
Nope, it's been an hour and a half, probably like almost 2 hours since you did your last hit.
Alright, my knee's getting a little bouncy.
Yeah. All right. So you have spent most of your time in this preparation chamber. You don't really think there's much else to see, which then brings you back to the crossroad. East leading towards the priest's catacombs. West heading back out into the altar room. North, where the otherworldly sound seems to be emanating from, leads down a dark, long hallway. And now with Danny having 120 feet of dark vision, you see infrared all the way down the hallway. And about 60 feet down is a doorway on the east, and about another 80 feet down is a doorway on the west. And then at the very end of this hallway, 120 feet down, is another one of these mechanical doors.
Hey guys, this is what I see.
I take one door.
I follow Robert.
All right. Door in the east, or door in the west, or door in the north?
West.
West. All right. The door in the east is another one of those vaulted doors. You begin to channel open the crank, and it reveals another crypt. This is very similar to the priest crypt, only you will see that there is a lot more swords and less juice and priestly wear. This seems to be a warrior's crypt.
Okay, you want to investigate? Danny?
I would love to investigate.
I'm a little too tired to do any investigating myself.
I would love
I'm
to
gonna
investigate
loot the
more
shit
stuff.
out of this crypt.
All right. Go ahead and make me a check.
Investigation.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna be super great. Oh yeah.
Oh, plus.
19 for me.
19.
Damn.
23.
23 and 19. So
I like hers.
you spend another 10 minutes, because that's how long it takes to go through the bodies, and you find on the 23, you find, let me roll this really quickly, 16 gold. And Robert Hod, there's a lot less gold in this because they're warriors opposed to priests, 12 gold. But with those rolls, you do find some treasure. You find a very nice looking dagger that seems to have this, it's a curved dagger. The hilt or the handle of it looks like a scaled lizard. It has a golden pommel, and the blade itself is kind of curved and serrated on the back end, and on the back serrated end there is 2 snakes coiling around themselves. You also find a elegantly elven carved longbow, and
That one.
you grab the longbow. It is a longbow +1. No attunement needed. The dagger, obviously magic, also does not need attunement, but you would need to dink around with that because it has more effects for a bit. You also find with a 23 a nice pair of boots that are golden kind of trimmings on them. They seem incredibly light and in good shape.
I love wooden boots.
So that's what you guys find with those rolls. 10 minutes in. That's like a good it's a good old golden trimmed boot. Very light and bouncy feeling. Not bouncy, actually. I don't know why I said that. You put them on. All right. The boots and dagger will acquire attunement. So unless you want to spend an hour right now going through them.
Damn it. Yeah, we'll have to. I don't think we should do that right now.
All right. So yeah, probably not. 10 minutes then. Do you want to, like, you can literally spend as much time in here as you want and continue to loot. There's more bodies than you could ever loot. But time is obviously passing.
I'll
Let's go back to the. Oh wait.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was thinking maybe the original room, to see what the skulls were.
The deal with the skulls.
Or we could keep going.
You can do that. I'll loop for a little bit longer.
Yeah, I'd like to at least check one of the other doors in this hallway before we head back to the main room, though.
Okay.
Just,
you can check the western
are they
door.
all crypts, or are they all? Yeah,
the
I'll
western
go out.
door is not a mechanical door. The northern door at the end of the hallway is a mechanical door. And as you get closer to that mechanical door to the north, the sound is getting even louder now. And it is like almost fully like an orchestra at this point. The sound of it, only that grating sound of several nails on a chalkboard. It's now kind of evolved into like hundreds of different horrible noises grinding. The western door, though, if you peek it open, it's really close to the eastern door, about 10 feet away, and this is not mechanical, and it opens up into a room with 18 marble pedestals on it, and each pedestal has a 20-pound book on each of them. They are bound in a weird peach brownish-like leather skin, obviously, because that's what cool books are bound in, and yeah, just 18 books on marble pedestals. You're all muted if you're speaking. Either that or you're just in shock of the room.
Nope. I'm still looting the warrior room. I love this room.
I would like to, if anybody followed me into the west room, I just look at them and be like, I think the room at the end of the hall might not be a crypt. It sounds like evil behind that door. But I can't read these books, so I don't know.
Agreed.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say I'll look to the only one carrying a book and be like, do you know what these ones say?
Yeah, I can come in over and read it.
Yeah, Danny, now that you have the raw orb of many eyes, you suddenly are a gifted reader, a speed reader even. And you would see that, even interestingly enough, as you enter the room, you would see that there's an eyepiece next to the script. And Draxus, if you were to grab the little monocle, you would also determine that you can now suddenly read this writing on these books, this ancient Duvan crypt. And the book, if you start flipping through them, it seems to be just a dense book full of allegory and legend of the Duvenku's horrible ways. So let me just see if I can scroll through here, but basically just depicting what you've already been slowly piecing together, that this temple was created to trick people into serving it, and then they would capture and torture and harness liquid time from the tortured souls. Apparently, if you cause great trauma and violence and agony to people before killing them, performing a ritual will capture their soul, and their soul combined with unholy water can create liquid time, which basically traps the souls and gives small fragments of godlike power to those who can imbue it. The cultists found that there was very few people strong enough to actually be able to handle this liquid time, so they started to perform a terrible ritual to turn one of them into a god. They call this the symbiote god. You would see that sticking out of the 16th book is a note piece, and it's basically a section of a historian concerning a possible betrayal of the Praetor. So Praetor Cyrus Carnithrax Maximus, the leader of these, was apparently worried about the Red Architect, Nazir and Anzat, betraying Carnithrax. And that's just a note, basically like a warning that this historian thinks that there might be a betrayal in the works. If you were to there's a lot, like obviously these books are huge, so I don't know, like even being able to read faster, I think
I'd like to Danny and say, I feel like when I defeat this evil, I can come back and read these. We will have plenty of time after we win back this place of torment.
It's a good plan.
Well, what are we waiting for?
Robert, you got 12 more gold, but no more magic items as you're spending 10 more minutes in the thing. You guys spent 10 minutes reading the books. It's a lot of horrible stuff.
I'll pop out and head over to where they were hanging
All right,
out
while
at.
they're all doing that, I would go check on the skulls. Just
Every single
pop my head in.
skull has now fallen. All 12 no longer are in the chains.
Oh.
So 120 minutes.
All right.
Makes sense.
At roughly 10 minutes per skull.
They took a short rest.
That was 60. And another hour down here hanging out. That sounds about right. We did loot a bunch of rooms. Well, okay. And I rejoined the group real quick.
I think we
Head
should
over to the
travel
last door.
the north door.
Yeah, let's head to the north door.
You crank open the last door, and that cacophony bursts forth, and it is now a wailing sound of ear-piercing, horrible noises. And you look and meet this L-shaped corridor. Leading northwards is what looks to be some massive stoned mural. It's hard to depict from this far away, about 20-30 feet away. And then towards your west is another long hallway. So you come up from the bottom of this L-shaped corridor. North heads to a weird mural, and west heads down to where this sound is now like a full front row seat concert of nails on a chalkboard. The orchestra is playing. What do you guys do?
The sound would almost be drawing Drexus closer to it. He would have a hard time concentrating on anything else. So unless everybody's like going to stop me, I'd start going towards the noise.
Robert stealths behind the paladin.
I don't stop you, but I stand in the doorway.
All right. So to understand, what's Danny doing actually before we go forward? Because a lot of stuff's about to happen.
I would probably follow Draxus.
All right. 10 feet, 20 feet, 30 feet. Draxus and them disappear into the darkness. Radislav, do you still wait by the door?
No. I would keep line of sight with them.
Yeah, I figured that you follow pace with them. What's your stealth check, Robert? You're muted.
25.
25. You're sneaky as fuck. You pass. So now you're heading westward. This might get confusing, but as you're heading westward towards the sound, down a long dark hallway, the sound is really kind of fucking with your senses now, and it's like making your eyes even vibrate as you get closer. But you do pass southward another hallway which leads to a single door, and then northward you pass what looks like a short hallway that leads to two fountains flanking a door to the north. So there's these two fountains that are flanking on the west and eastern side, and in the center of it is another one of these bronze doors. But westward is where the sound seems to be coming from. So basically there's a deviator heading towards the sound kind of choice you're making.
Trying to bring into the true noise, I would just be following that. I'd almost hard to follow anything else at this point.
I figured as much, but I didn't want to deprive from what you guys would have seen. You head, and after carrying on for about 80 feet, Danny, you're going to be the one that sees this first. You think that it's leading towards a dead end, but with your crazy dark vision, you realize that that's not the end of the wall. The wall itself is strange, viscous, semi-translucent. And as you're trying to focus your eyes on it, it's incredibly hard to do so because this horrible noise is reaching its climax, and you're gritting your teeth and you don't even realize it, and you're just trying to focus. And as you get within 20 feet of it, it's some kind of carving or something on this viscous substance. Draxus in the lead, I'm assuming you relay this to them, but it's still hard to make it out. Your eyes are vibrating. What do you guys do 20 feet away from the source of this horrible sound? It's now causing you everything in your power to like make you not want to just go crazy and stop. You must stop whatever the fuck is doing this, because if the sound does not fucking stop, you're going to stab yourself in your ears until you can no longer hear. What do you guys do?
I'll shoot it with a short bow.
Excellent. 20.
I'll try to push through it.
All right. Anybody else want to react in this instant?
Continue to move forward.
Continue to move forward.
I got nothing.
You got nothing. You just stand and watch. Draxus.
I'm also a little bit behind everybody else. And I'm
Yeah.
just holding my-
Draxus pounds forward confidently, knowing that this is his task that he's been deemed a champion of Bahamut for. The evil must be at the end of this tunnel, and he must vanquish it. Danny, you kind of panically, or maybe even just furiously, release a bolt into the wall, and you hear this sickening plopping sound as your arrow hits something wet. And then the noise momentarily stops, and you hear a long, painful, gurgling moan. And then another slopping sound hits the floor, gushing. And Draxus, as you pound forth with your morning star lit, ready to vanquish the evil, you see a translucent goop that is completely engulfed in thousands of snow globe-like orbs of liquid time, but sitting at the top of this goop like a stag mounted on the wall in the cabin is a man's face that is moaning and gurgling in pain. And this face is the same face that is depicted on the locket and depicted on the murals, and it gurgles out in pain. And the symbiote god lunges forth towards you. Go ahead and do your damage first of all. Or actually roll the hit first of all, Danny. And then everyone immediately roll initiative. I'm just going to tell you guys straight up that 18 is your mark to hit this thing.
Yeah, I missed.
So you don't miss it, but you don't do damage to it per se.
Right, yeah.
And then everyone follow up with a initiative roll.
15.
15 on Radislav.
9. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Yeah, 11.
11 on Danny.
19.
19 on Mr. Hod. Draxus, you're actually rolling your dex at disadvantage now because of your what was it I
What?
gave you?
I thought that was only attack rolls. Okay.
Oh, all ability
No,
checks.
it's your checks. Attack rolls don't count yet.
You're also at disadvantage
Wow.
on attack rolls too. You're super cursed right now.
That's 5.
5. All right. So the symbiote god, aka the sacred parasite, is going to also roll its initiative. I thought I did. It rolls a. Does it beat you? It ties you. What's your mod? Your mod's disgusting. So you go first. Robert Hod.
So I'm kind of in melee with it, right?
Yeah, you pledged. Yeah, I guess you charged forth too.
Yeah, I did. All right, so I will face step away from it, and
Yep.
so it has to make a DC 11 Wisdom save.
Okay. It rolls. What is its mark?
11.
It succeeds.
Okay, I still get away from it, and then I will shoot at it with an arrow with 23 to hit.
23 hits.
All right, and then I will use superiority die to do an extra D8 of damage. 15 damage.
15 damage. It resists. Has resistance to your bow. So
No, it doesn't because it's a magical bow.
yes,
plus
it does because it does.
Shenanigans! It's magical bow. That's some bullshit.
I'm sorry to tell you that. So
You
15 is half of 15. What is that mental math?
7.
Yeah.
I'll action surge and shoot it again with a 25 to hit.
25 also hits.
And then I will use another superiority die for some more damage. And it'll be 17 half to whatever 8.
Yep. All right. 2 quick bows are released with the new elven made bow that you have, and it does strike true and strong, but it just sinks into this gluttonous mess of translucent liquid. Anything else on your turn?
Nope, I'm 30 feet away from it, so I'm happy.
It is up next, and it is going to, with a pseudopod, slam out towards you, Draxus. I keep on almost calling you Octavios, like the whole entire night. I'm surprised I haven't yet. Its first pseudopod, you roll out of the way or pull up a shield, whatever you have to get out of the way. But then as it now kind of comes forward, sending out one of these pseudopods with a liquid time orb in it, you are caught off guard and it begins to vomit towards you, just spewing you with liquid time. And make me a wisdom saving throw.
Ooh, I got liquid time all over me now. Am I one of the few that are strong enough to fucking... Oh, that was a 21.
21. You resist the paralyzing feeling that comes over you, but still take 1 damage.
Okay.
And then it will make another pod attack. This time rolling a 19 to hit.
That is my HP or my AC, so yeah.
All right. Now covered in the vomit, you move a lot slower. This is thick liquid, and it comes and bashes into you for a total of 5 chilling cold damage. And as it does punch you with its pseudopod orb, you're filled with visions of horrible violence, the violence that was made to create this half undead, half almost godlike monstrosity of a creature. Each hit, you just feel the souls that were tortured to create this abomination. That is the end of its turn for now. Radislav, you are up next as you see this horrible slopping creature begin to crawl and vomit all over Draxus. What do you do? You're muted.
I rush forward, hand extended. Is it pretty big?
It is the entire hallway worth of stuff, and you don't know how far back it goes into whatever's behind it. You can kind of see that it opens up into a room that has an altar on it, but it's hard to see through all the many liquid orb time things that are in it. There's just thousands of these tortured souls locked inside of it.
All right, well, that's a pretty big target. I'm just going to extend my hand out and blast the entire hallway with fairy fire, trying not to hit my friends.
All
if
right.
I can, like, get it without getting them.
Yeah, absolutely. You fairy fire just engulfs it in flaming like liquid to illuminate it, right?
Yep, dexterity saving throw, DC 13.
All right. It's not very dexterous, so let's see how it does. It rolled a natural 17 though, I'm sorry. So
That's
even
fine.
even with its minus modifier, it rolls a 15.
15 is a success. And that's my action. For my bonus action, I will cast Shalala.
All
on
right.
my staff.
You imbue your weapon with magical druidic energy, charging it forth with the magical power that deeply lies within you. The fairy fire has no effect as Danny now positions herself. The tormenting nails on chalkboard begins to just squeal out from this thing's mouth again, deafening you all. What do you do, Danny?
Well, I'm gonna shoot it with the short bow.
All right, short bow it up.
And that's a whopping 87.
18 is your mark for this creature.
It's a miss.
All right.
I miss.
You miss. Anything else on your action?
Nope.
So again, it's not that you're necessarily missing this thing because it is just a massive gelatinous slop of translucent liquid, but you're just not able to damage it for whatever reason. You don't see what the weakness is of this creature. You shoot a bow right into its head, but it just engulfs the arrow into its forehead and vanishes. It squeals out at you with that horrible cacophony. And next up is Draxus. This thing is now all over you, and you take a 2 damage worth of horrible psychic violent imagery damage.
I highly doubt I'll be able to fight this thing on a psychic level. So can I look through it, since you said it was like a gelatinous blob? And you mentioned earlier, but I just want to see if Draxus sees anything on the other side of this thing.
Give me a perception check.
Because he's got some fucking plans, I'm telling you. Perception, huh? You want something like that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, feeling good about yourself right now?
I'm feeling great. How are you guys feeling?
Not bad. That's a 6.
6. Yep. You are more focused on the things now, kind of like it extends its head kind of like a worm, just somehow getting longer. And now its moaning face has just like tentacled crawled its way through the air towards you and is now squealing right in your face. And it's really hard to look at anything else besides that horrible, bald, gelatinous face that now squeals at you.
Okay, I don't have Turn Undead or anything, but I do have Turn the Unholy. And I am imagining this thing is as unholy as you fucking get. So with the hopes of
pretty unholy.
With the hopes of having it maybe back up a little bit, maybe, you know, not be able to rush towards for my companions.
Okay.
I'm gonna try to use Turn the Unholy.
What is Turn Unholy? That seems like a paladin divine sense thing.
Yes, channel divinity. As an action, you present your holy symbol and speak a prayer, ensuring fiends and undead using the channel divinity. Each fiend or undead that can be see or hear you within 30 feet must make a wisdom saving throw. If they fail, they gotta book it. Their turn for a minute.
All right, I will make the wisdom saving throw to humor you. What's your save?
8, 11, 13.
So normally it would fail this, but unfortunately the sacred parasite or the symbiote god is immune to all turning undead / unholy effects. This is a borderline almost god you're fighting. An incomplete god. Incomplete god.
Alright. I'm gonna channel divinities in action. I'm gonna go with Shield of Faith and raise a shimmering field around me.
All right. So Bahamut's radiant energy does not turn this unholy thing, but it does not daunt you as you channel your prayers. A shield of faith emanates from around you, lighting up the corridor, strengthening your defenses. You're ready for the next onslaught of this thing as Robert Hod is next to act. Now, bamfed away and releasing arrow after arrow into this thing. What do you do? You're muted also.
I'll shoot it with another arrow, 22 to hit.
Okay, that does so.
And then I will use my superiority die to do a menacing attack.
Yeah, menace
So
it.
18 damage, and then it has to make a wisdom save or be frightened.
All right, wisdom saving throw or be frightened. What's your save?
11.
11. It actually makes the 11 on the dot.
Yeah. All right. That's it. I'm
All
out.
right.
Clap,
So
clap.
what was the damage again? Sorry. 17?
18, so halved makes 9.
9. Okay, 24. The thing, it's really hard to tell whether you're damaging it or not, but you're sinking attacks into it and hoping that you're doing something. Oh shit, I forgot that it was supposed to do something at the end of the round. Oh well, you'll see what it does next turn. Draxus, it now stands in front of you again and begins to moan. Another one of its pseudopods comes bursting out. It rolled a natural 1, but I'm going to spend one of my inspirations that you guys were kind enough to give to me. And I still failed with that, but it is going to also vomit on you once more, just barfing out another tsunami of liquid time onto you. Another wisdom saving throw.
Is there any, like, you know, out of game, anybody have any ideas on how to use this shit to my advantage? You fucking tell me, okay? That's a 15.
15.
Open your mouth wide and drink it in.
15, you
How'd that work?
still save, but you do take another 1 point of damage.
Damn you and your fucking creeper damage.
All right, Radoslav, you are now up. Your fairy fire has went off, but no effect. What do you do?
I fairy fire.
You fairy fire again. All right. I'm assuming you're tracking your spells. I don't know how much a druid gets for spells, but I trust you as
I
a
am
player.
very much tracking
Yeah,
my spells.
I figured. All right. It failed. It's wisdom saving throw on a fairy fire, and that's one of the effects that it's not immune to. So, yeah, you illuminate it.
All right, it's illuminated. That's my action.
Yep.
As my bonus action, I will transform into. I'm gonna go with a bear.
A bear. All right. Back into the bear form. You transform, letting out a mighty roar as your big hairy claws hit the floor, ready to attack. That will have to
but
wait.
I don't close the distance in the melee.
All right. You do not close the distance. Danny, you're up next. Draxus is doing everything he can, but is now completely covered in slime. What do you do?
I'm gonna use a short bow again.
All right. Fire away.
Get advantage with fairy fire.
Yay! I got it.
That's good.
19.
19 hits.
Yay!
Yeah, 2d6.
You have it?
Well, plus your d6 for your bow.
Right.
Oh, that's good.
That's awesome. 15, 18.
18 damage, halved for 9, puts it at still not bloodied.
Makes sense.
Anything else?
That's all I got.
The short bows are landing true, but as torrent after torrent of arrows sinks into this thing, you begin to quaver on whether or not you're actually doing any damage onto it. Draxus would normally be up, but this time the DM's not going to forget this thing's sacred ability as it channels upon its liquid time like essence. You are readying to attack, but it shimmers before you and then lunges unexpectedly with another one of its pseudopods, this time definitely hitting with a over 20 to hit, unless your Shield of Faith... What does your Shield of Faith give you?
21 AC.
21 AC, so it rolled a 15 plus 6... 21. I'm sorry. I'm a dick. 4 psychic chilling damage, though, as that's not too bad. And you are back on your turn, and you're going to take another 3 damage being engulfed in this thing, but you are up. Don't forget you're at disadvantage because of your cursed Vorpal Blade. But hey, if you roll 2 natural 20s, this thing does have a head.
I don't
You
think
have
I've actually.
advantage on attacks against it because it's very fire, so that
Oh
would cancel out.
shit!
You'll at
Radislav
least
has
keep
thought
rolling.
this through. All you need to do is roll a natural 20.
I will take my Vorpal Blade, and I am actually I'm gonna do my Channel Divinity Sacred. No, I can't because then that'll cancel out. Shit. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to go with the Vorpal Blade.
All right, go ahead.
Hope for the best.
Don't you cheat? Don't you lie and tell me you got a natural 20?
Stab at thee.
I only got a 14.
All right, 14 plus what?
There's just 14 is what I got.
Unfortunately misses. As you think your last chance, maybe this cursed blade, maybe you can make some use of it with the power of Radislav, but you run forth and it's a little bit smaller and less powerful than your Morning Star that you're used to, and you're unsuccessful with the first attack. Anything else?
At which point I will stand tall, covered in this barfy clear slime of other people's essence. And I am actually gonna start loudly saying over my oath of what's it called now? My sacred oath. I'm just gonna start repeating it over and over again, louder and louder.
All right.
And I'm gonna stand as an opposing item in this thing's way towards the group of people that I have with me.
Take a point of inspiration as you stand there bravely muttering the words of Bahamut that channel you to destroy this unholy creature. Robert, you're up next. What do you do? You're muted again.
Shoot it with an arrow.
Shoot it with an arrow.
24 to hit.
Yeah.
I will use my last superiority die, do 13 damage, and it has to make another wisdom saving throw.
All right, so let's see how it does on this one. Wisdom saving throw. It rolled a natural 2. What happens?
Yeah, it's frightened until its next turn. It has to run away.
You're going to hate me because it's immune to fear or frightened condition.
You're such a dick.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I still did extra.
Yeah, go ahead and
You
do
know
your
what?
damage.
Fuck it. I trip it.
Trip it.
It falls down.
All right, it's also immune to the prone condition. I'm sorry.
Fuck it. I set it on fire.
It's not immune to fire, but what's your damage?
13 halved makes 6.
All right, that puts it at still not doing too good. It's still doing pretty good. Next up, the Sacred Parasite. It will pseudopod once more, gushing now like a tsunami of globes of tortured souls. It lunges forth at you, Draxus, but maybe it's the channeling of your spell, the muttering of your powerful chants. The attacks do not get through. It will try to vomit on you once more, though. Wisdom saving throw.
I'm almost used to this at this point. I'm like, you know what? Bring it.
Yeah.
I'm kind of dry over here. Hit me again.
Yep.
That's a 7.
7. Oh, you are now paralyzed, though, as you get too confident. You take 1 more point of damage, but are paralyzed, and you need to save on the wisdom to get out of this paralyze. Radislav, roaring out like a mighty bear, you see that your friend Draxus is now overcome and frozen in place. What do you do? You're muted.
I rush the creature and I bite it and I claw it. Here comes the bite.
All right.
The bite is a 20 to hit.
Does.
Here comes the claw. The claw doesn't hit.
Claw does not hit.
1d8 plus 4. That's an 8. Woo! Plus 4 is 12. Divided by 2 is 6.
All right. Wait. Nope. Your claw does not do half damage.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Then 12.
12. All right.
I have no idea, but I'm not going to question it. That's great.
It
Maybe
is
because it's a
bloodied.
natural attack?
It is bloodied.
You guys should punch it in the face.
I have no idea. All right. That's awesome. Cool. It's bloodied. That's my turn.
All right. Danny, you see the bear charge forth and claw into this thing and just slaughter off pseudopods that are now just coming out of it like a many tentacled-like creature. He's just cutting off pod after pod, trying to back up Draxus. What do you do? You're muted.
I'm very consistent. I'm gonna go ahead and shoot it with the short bow again.
Yep. The archers in the back line laying down the deeps.
For half damage. Nope.
All right. Don't forget that you do each have 1 point of inspiration that I don't think anyone's called upon.
Oh yeah, I give you 3 luck points.
Also works if you want to do that.
And gets
Also,
you, right?
You think that's worth it?
Yeah. Why not?
Right. Sure. Go ahead.
give her.
And then
What's that damage?
8, 10, 12, 15.
15 halved is all right. The creature now getting closer and closer to a more diminished state. You see that less of the pseudopods are now erupting from it. Draxus, you would normally be up, but you are paralyzed, which I believe means that this thing gets
I get a save at the end of my turn every time, don't I?
yeah, when it gets to, it's using its liquid time ability to jump in the initiative and do some special shit. And I believe when you attack a paralyzed creature, it gets really unpretty for you. But let me just double check. Blah blah blah. Attack rolls. I have advantage. Any attack that hits the creature is a critical strike. So if it hits you, it's going to be a critical. And it does hit you with a natural 18 plus modifiers. And you are going to take a total
6 damage.
of 11 more damage.
All right.
You're now up. Try to make your save to get over this paralyzed. You also take 1 more point of damage from being in this thing's goop.
Draxus standing there paralyzed is he's very stoic. He's a great role model for the rest of the group to look at. But meanwhile, he can't move, and he's bloody as shit. So I will do my wisdom saving throw. As a small tear starts to roll down my face, I roll an 18.
18, you burst forth, calling off the paralyzed. You know that it is you that is meant to destroy this thing. You shake it off. Robert Hodge, you're up next. The thing must be getting close to dead now. There's hundreds or like dozens of arrows stuck in it. You guys are just launching your attacks into it. What do you do?
I shoot it,
All right.
but I don't shoot for as much damage. It's not a critical, but I did roll 30.
Interesting. That's got to count for something.
Because plus 11.
All right. Go ahead and do that
Bullshit.
damage.
13 damage, so halved is
6. All right. That puts it at that. Anything else?
That's it. I got nothing.
All right, Draxus. If you can just hold off a little bit longer, you think you can channel the spell, but this thing comes lunging at you, furious, wanting to bring you to torment like it has done so many others. 18 to hit, I believe, misses, but your Shield of Faith is concentration, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
So make a con save.
Oh, I thought I would have lost it when I was paralyzed.
I think you can remain concentration. You just have to make a con save when you got hit. I missed a couple, but...
Yeah, that's an 11, so it brings my AC back down to 19.
19?
Yep.
All right, you're good. Go ahead, and it misses your Shield of Faith is still on, so it misses. It will no longer vomit on you, Radislav. Go ahead.
What the fuck?
Radislav, that's you.
Claw and bite. Here's the claw.
All right.
21 on the claw.
Okay.
And 21 on the bite.
All right, go ahead and do your damage.
All right. Are either of these halved, or are they both full damage?
Both full damage.
Okay, that's gonna be a lot. 17 points of damage.
17 points of damage. Go ahead and describe what it's like as you finish off this half-created god of torment. What do you do?
I take a few steps back in the hallway, and then just go in for a charge, lunge forward, claw open, and I dive through it